Hello, and welcome back to Mainly Menswear. My name is Dwayne McLeod, and I'm glad you're here. This is the final video in a series that I've put together on making the Quadra jeans by Thread Theory Design. And in the video today, you'll see the waistband go on, adding the belt loops, and I'm also going to show you some of the vintage attachments that I used to put the finishing touches on these jeans. I think that you might enjoy seeing that. All in all, I have to say that this has been a really enjoyable make, and I would encourage anyone to make these Quadra jeans. And I just want to thank you for watching these videos if you've persisted through all three. So let's wrap this project up with the final video. Welcome back to the sew-along for the Quadra jeans from Thread Theory. Today I'm hoping to get the waistband and the belt loops on and finish these jeans up. I'm just going to start by saying, you're going to get pattern pieces for the waistband and the belt loops. And my suggestion is to save yourself some aggravation and just forget about those pattern pieces and just mark them out on your fabric and cut them out. It's just so much easier. This is the waistband that I've made for my jeans. The pattern calls for it to be seamed in the back so that it could be let out and the jeans could be made a little bit bigger. Again, the instructions just say to interface. I have trimmed 5/8 of an inch off all the edges, and one edge I have pressed back. I'm using a sewn-in interfacing here. You'll want to experiment. I just felt like this gave me the right amount of oomph for a waistband. Anyway, the instructions are going to tell you to pin this waistband on right sides together, so from the outside, and that you're going to flip the waistband to the inside and then top stitch from the outside. I think just kind of hoping and praying that you're going to catch the inside of the waistband. This is not a technique that I'm really crazy about, so I'm just going to switch it up a little bit and attach the right side of my waistband to the inside or the wrong side of the jeans. I'm going to sew it at 5/8, and then I'm going to flip it to the outside, and I'll be able to edge stitch from the outside if I just line up this folded edge with the seam that I've just created. For me, that's just a technique that works easier. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and hopefully my method will be correct. If it's not, you'll know to just follow the directions as written. The waistband was quite easy to sew on. My only caution would be when you get to the zipper tape, you probably just want to use your hand wheel to get over that. You certainly don't want to break a needle. And once you have this sewn on, you can go ahead and cut this off, or they make special tools that you can pull the zipper teeth off with. Now I kind of revert back to the instructions. What you will want to do here is you're going to fold your waistband so that the right sides are together, and you will just want to mark an extension of that. This is the zipper shield, and you're going to stitch along here, trim closely here, probably knock that little corner off. I'm going to trim my interfacing back. That's easy to do if you have a sewn-in interfacing. And then this is just going to get turned to the outside, and you'll do this on both sides of the front. I would also just say I always like to leave a lot of extra here. when you go to cut out your waistband, just make it a little bit extra long. Gives you some wiggle room. You don't want to get down here and be struggling with just a little bit of fabric. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to stitch these, turn them, and then I should be ready to do my top stitching from the front. Well, the waistband and the top stitching to attach it went really well, I think. This technique worked for me. I've also noticed that putting the waistband on this way, you get a much smoother finish on the inside of the jeans than you would otherwise. This is a little bulky on the outside, so it's kind of nice to have it smoother and less bulky on the inside. The belt loops are pretty self-explanatory. They're very easy to make for this pattern. My only observation is that when you do the button or the belt loops on the front here, you are going to be sewing through your pocketing. So you just want to make sure when you're at the machine that your pocketing is nice and flat and that it's not all bunched up. Otherwise, you're going to get a catch in your pocketing. I will say that I've added 2 extra belt loops to this pattern, and that's based on my experience with the Jedediah pant, which also has just 5 belt loops. So I place 2 in the front, about 2.5 inches from the center front. I also place one at the side seam and at the center back, and then center other belt loops halfway between the side and the center back. And I just find that I don't know, it just helps hold them up better. It's just a personal preference. So what's left? I am going to have to make a buttonhole here. I have some little antique brass rivets that are kind of fun to install, and so I'll probably pop in a few at the corners here of the pockets. And then I will need to pull out my vintage buttonholer and make the bar tacks for the front and the back pockets. And I've been thinking that I might decide to do them in a different color. I've got this bright red thread. I've also got like a bright orange. I just think it might be kind of fun to do something a little bit different. That's the advantage of being able to make our own clothes. We can have exactly what we want. So I'm going to go ahead and finish these up, and then I'll show you the final product. Having 2 machines to work with on this project has been really helpful, and I thought you just might enjoy seeing some of the vintage attachments that I've used to make the buttonholes and the bar tacks on these jeans. So here we go. In conclusion, I just want to thank you for coming along on this jeans making journey. For me, this was the first pair of jeans that I ever made, and I have to say that I'm really happy with the way they came out. This was a really fun pattern to make, and in a way it was very surprising. I thought it would be much harder than it actually was. I would totally make another pair of these Quadra jeans. I just thought I'd show. I added some rivets here at the edges of the pocket. I did use a contrasting thread for my bar tacks here, and also on my pockets. I think it's kind of a fun detail. I also had a little scrap of leather, and I used one of my own labels and made a little kind of leather patch on the back of the jeans. When we can make our own clothes, we can do these kind of things, and that's part of the joy for me. So I hope this has been helpful. If you're thinking of launching into the Quadra jeans, I highly recommend them. I wish you all happy sewing, and I'm not sure what my next video will be. I kind of make them as I work along on my projects. So take care, be safe, and happy sewing.